All right. What's happening, everybody? What's happening there? The artist, the founder, the president of the ONYXCON Foundation. We the best. Forget the rest. If you're a part of this, we the best. What DJ Khaled say? We the best. Oh man, what's happening, everybody? It's Sunday. Sunday fun day. You know what I mean? Shout out to the West Coast. That's why I got the phrase from, which I know it's used in all over the country, but especially they do the car shows and meetups out there. They call it Sunday Fun Day and everything. Shout out. Speaking of West Coast, if you haven't seen the footage, make sure you see a review of Ice Cube's new album, Man Up. That's right, Man Up. The last one was Man Down. This time he's giving you Man Up. He came back with a whole nother one. I give my personal perspectives on the album. I speak on it from its details, its actual lyrical content and value, beat-wise, otherwise, length-wise. I did have some issues with the length, so much so that I said it didn't even really feel like a full album to me. But I respect, hey, if you want to call it an album, it's an album. But and I'm going to call it what he calling it. But at the end of the day, for me, I want more. As an Ice Cube fan that has been through all the different phases of him putting out music and seeing his growth and evolution as the man we know him publicly, because like I said, you never know any of these celebrities personally. You just know what you get through their art, you know, and what they present in interviews and things of that nature. So that's all I can go off of. Speaking of which, I want to reiterate something because I was sending it out to some friends of mine, homies of mine that I know love music like I love music. So I figured, yeah, they'll like this interview. They'll watch it. They'll check it out maybe. And one of my homies sent back, you know, that he was pretty much kind of through with Cube because he felt like he had stepped too far into the mess. And I knew it. Have you seen this? The previous did for Man Down. And if you haven't seen that, I would say watch that first. The Man Down joint to me was a stronger Show Enough album from Cube. But anyway, at the beginning of my review for that, and I did a double review because GNX, Kendrick Lamar, came out the same day. For anybody who's really into music and knows what I'm talking about, Kendrick came out the same day with GNX as Man Down came out with Ice Cube. So I did a double review on that review. If you've never seen it, check that out here on ONYXCON. And in the very beginning of it, I did a clip of some footage from a podcast Cube was on where he explained emphatically, for the record, that he knows in so many words. You got to watch it and see how he said it. I'm not quoting directly, but my interpretation of everything he said was that he knew he got used when he came up with his document for Black America as related to politics, and both parties approached him, Democrats and Republicans. He didn't go out to them. They came to him and his team because he's not just an individual. He got a lot of people surrounding him for all the business he does. I mean, come on, the man owns a whole basketball league. Big Three is in full effect. He got his Cube vision for films and every other type of production. And of course, music, plus everything else he might be doing that you may not even be aware of. I mean, he's an ambassador for the Raiders. He's, you know, the head of the Raider Nation. So, you know what I'm saying? He got a lot going on. He got a hell of a lot going on. But anyway, he said they came to his people. They said both parties came to his people. In his words, he said the Democrats wanted to wait till after the election because they thought they had it sold up that they had won. Unfortunately, they did not. If you're new to the channel and you wonder what side of everything I'm on, yes, Kamala should have been president. There you go. Does that make you sick? Does that make you want to lose your mind? Good. Get the hell off my channel. You ain't welcome here. Because we ain't about none of that. We ain't being friendly about none of it. We don't deal with maggot isms over here, just for the record, so you understand. See, other folk play around with it, tiptoe around it, don't say what the hell they mean. I don't come from that era. I come from, well, what side you on? I'm on this side. Okay, that's it. Drew the line, that's it. That's where we standing, period. Done. Ain't nothing to be debating. Ain't no, well, you know, let's give everybody a thought. We done that. We done the research. This is why we standing where we standing and we not budging. That's what I said. Okay, now, so Cube said in this interview that basically when they thought they had it sold up, they thought they would get back with him. He said the Republicans wanted to take certain parts of his document and apply it to this craziness that they've created, that we've seen where that went. Okay, we've seen where that madness led, right? And unfortunately, he was just a pawn in their political game. And he came to understand that. He said, you know, like I say, you got to watch him to hear his words, but in so many words, he realizes he had been used. I'll just put it like that. That's no quote. That's just my interpretation of what he finally said. He's like, yo, man, I got used. I played around with the stuff you don't want to mess with. You get into that political thing, it's going to get messy. And that's pretty much what happened. Now, from that, knowing what a man can go through in this life and in this country, and I've been in positions where things like that happen on different levels, not that level, but, you know, major local government level positions of influence and authority when it comes to the arts and influence of the arts communities in Atlanta, I've been privy to. I have been a soldier on the front lines, an absolute general, an admiral, whatever highest degree you want to call it. I've done that damn work. And anybody who know me know what I'm talking about, and they respect it, and it's salute when I come in a room. But I'm saying, from that understanding, I came to realize, just even on that level, how, man, when there's anything that could be read as political, it's too intertwined for the average person to understand. Just looking at the news, getting upset and not understanding who's having it's like why I love pro wrestling. Even though I don't watch it all the time, I do watch it, and I got something to tell y'all about that too in a minute. But the thing I learned to love about wrestling, and I say learn to love because I wasn't always a fan till about maybe, I didn't really get into wrestling. And even now, I'm not like diehard. I will check in, check out. When I have time, I check stuff out. And that's what I'm about to tell y'all about, something I watched that I'm still not finished with, but it was really good. Really freaking good. But, you know, if you know anything about the history of that, whoever's playing a heel or a face, you know, the good guys, bad guys, heels are the bad guys, faces are the good guys, so to speak, right? And it's all energy when people are approaching the ring. If you've never seen certain wrestlers wrestle, all you gotta do is watch the crowd reactions for people who are more into it and see, oh, okay, that's the crowd favorite, oh, they're not. And then, you know, as an individual, you still may be like, well, hell, I still like the so-called heel more because I like their perspective on this, that, the other, or I just like their outfit, or I like their style of wrestling. I like the way this dude carries himself. I like the way this lady carries herself. I like that, you know, and that's that, period, done, right? And politics kind of works the same way in the sense of it becoming this popularity game. But then when there's real agendas at play, which is the sad part about, you know, here's fictional theatrical athleticism. Hear how I said that? Theatrical athleticism, still athleticism, but theatrical athleticism versus theatrical political, but then can turn straight diabolical and regime oriented, as we have seen. So it goes way beyond sticking to some, you know, the whole phrase that a lot of us who understood these things for years used to say, and still some say two parties, one thing, or two wings, one bird, and all the same bird. Man, that bird is dead, okay? And I don't even want to make the bird a part of it. Leave the eagle alone. The eagle should have never been caught up in these people's stuff. Leave the animals alone. Just put your stinking ass face, just like you got on all the dollars on everything, and just say, yeah, we the psychos who own plantations and want to control and dominate people. Just say that and be done with it. Stop pretending it's anything else. Stop putting other things, stop coding shit with what you'll never be. You ain't got the nuts to be a bald eagle. You ain't got them, you ain't got them. Them ain't your marbles. You can't fly. And even though bald eagles steal some of their meals, you don't steal the same way. You steal in a different way, a whole nother level of a playing field. Stop comparing yourself. Stop using things that got nothing to do with you to symbolize your nonsense. Just stop, please. You know, stop using snakes. Yeah, I said snakes too. Leave the snakes alone. That's right. Leave the rattlesnakes alone. Stop talking about stuff threading on you and all that. No. Take all your revolutionary, we mad at England to this day, but not really, because you in with them since the beginning and all that. Man, I don't want to hear it. All us everyday people from England to here, I said from England to here, everywhere in the world, all us regular everyday people who get out here and bust our asses to keep roof and food on table, We make the world go round. And all the rest of them don't do nothing but manipulate and create hate. We ain't with you. So, now, I want to make it clear because, like I said, I don't dibble and dabble. So if anybody's wondering, well, what does he think? There you go. I could go much deeper, and I'm still being slightly symbolic here. But no, it's pretty ugly out here. So all that was to say, when people were mad, and some people still mad because they don't do research, they don't look up what people's actual quotes were and who said what and when they said it and how they said it. Where's the context? Was it AI generated or is it real? And if you don't know the difference, get you some artist friends. I repeat, get you some visual artist friends because there's different types of artists. But if they are visually inclined, visual artists, they'll be able to tell you, no. I edit videos. I draw, I paint, I do video, I do film. I can tell you this is fake. Or this is real, but they've manipulated it. And they can show you why because the average person cannot differentiate. They really can't. I thought that, because I'm an artist, I'm thinking, isn't it obvious when you look at this? Like, can't you tell that's computer generated? No. People who are not artistically inclined, for the most part, cannot tell the difference. A lot of them truly believe a lot of stuff they see being made up, generated from prompts of AI nowadays. And it's pretty damn sad for what that means because, now if you take it down to a child level, you really got a problem. Because some of them might be able to be like, man, that's fake. I know that's not real. But others going to be like, that's really what happened. And that's really how they looked. And that's really how that person talks. No, it's not, baby. No, it's not. That's not it. That's not it. You understand? But that's hard to combat when so much stuff gets delivered in a certain kind of package. And once people get used to getting it that way, as long as it comes in the right package, they believe it. They believe it. You know what I'm saying? So, bottom stinking line, because all that was to say what I was going to say about, like I said, I had the homie, and I still haven't seen what he said in reply, but I wrote him back and just told him, I said, man, check this out. Hopefully he'll take time and watch that. And it's not long. It's just the beginning of the video. The rest of the video is my review, which I really want you to check out. But you'll hear my reaction to that, and then you'll hear my review. But in the beginning, you get it from the source, direct, clip from a podcast, real time, not. All right. There will be interruptions as usual, y'all. Y'all know what it is. I'm here doing the work that we got to do to keep it flowing. So I'm waiting on an order, and I almost had one just now. But anyway, I don't want to talk about that. We'll talk about what I'm here to talk about. So it was basically well understood that Ice Cube was not claiming any particular party or anything. So just for the record, that's just not true for those who still believe that think that, he went a certain way and sold out and all this other stuff. It's like, nope, that's not the case. That's not the case. And for that matter, it's like, I look at celebrities like, unfortunately, when you get my age, you realize that a lot of your teenage heroes and people you admired or like their music or whatever it is, most of them gonna disappoint you before you gone. That's just what it is, unfortunately. Because you start realizing how human they are and not the record label made up persona that they present. And themselves made persona. Because they take parts of who you are, and I'm speaking from people I know who do this. I was saying, they take pieces of who you are and they create a story of who you're gonna be when they present you as a package, as a commodity, as a good, in the form of, this is the artist, this is their work, this is their album, this is their music. But they're gonna take every aspect of your existence that you let them know about and create your identity. This is what artist development is about at record companies. Now, a lot of that has changed because of streaming, and most of these kids who get popular, they do it on their own, which can be both beneficial and detrimental because, okay, if a cat is from some really crazy street persona and trying to be gangster, whatever. And then they don't have all of the industry researched ways of presenting that in a certain way that's palatable for the whole world to see this as an identity and accept it as who you say you are and everything, because it's so specific to your neighborhood and your community and what y'all do and how y'all do it and blah 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 blah. That can actually destroy or build a career, because either people gonna want to know more about it because it's pretty interesting, they do something a little different from the other folks that say they about this kind of life or whatever, but then if you got none of these elements that are creatively enticing, because I always tell y'all, what really makes any of this stuff palatable is the art itself, not the negative energy that somebody even might be saying or talking about. It's even in that, it's how they say it. It's the lyrical presentation. It's how clever you can say you doing all this dirt. It ain't just, I did dirt and I do work. And nobody hear that shit. You gotta be like, you gotta put some finesse on it. You got all these little slang words. Now people gotta go to a thesaurus, a glossary, and try to figure you out, and it becomes a little game of, oh, I didn't know that's what that meant, and all this other stuff. And people, at the end of the day, that is why all of this stuff became the industry it did, because it becomes its own Easter egg hunt for a little factoid information about something that people either slightly relate to, might relate to definitely, but still from different areas and stuff. So it's like, oh, okay, that's, wow, what's going on there that they like that? Because that's what fascinated me about it when it all surfaced when I was in middle school. That's what fascinated me about it. And I'm not just talking about the negative aspect, I'm talking about the whole thing of what people label as hip-hop cultures. Definitely not just the negative, because that's the worst part of it. That's the downfall of it. That's why we always got all the issues of people misinterpreting what it's supposed to really be about in the first place. Hip-hop was created to get rid of the gangs, to get rid of the drugs, to get rid of all the pain. It was supposed to be the party and the consciousness. So, but I'm gonna have to get back with y'all, even though I want to finish this lecture, but I got to get busy on some. As we continue to give you what's on the menu of this art life. So I was talking about music and AR development and how they built people over the years and how that's changed, and how I can see where it could kind of be detrimental in some ways, not all, in some pluses and some minuses, as always whenever there's a change. Okay, with people who built their own identity prior to getting picked up by a major label because they were completely independent and they were streaming, they got their fans, and then suddenly they get picked up by a big industry entity that can distribute them to a global level beyond their wildest dreams. But at the same time, now you stuck in this whatever you created about yourself from the beginning. Versus I notice when it comes to artists that are developed from the old school, they can change as they need to. They still stick to the basic plot, more or less, of whoever they always were. And I said that in my review about the Cube album. I said my only gripe, and this ain't just with Cube, this is with anybody. It's not even a gripe. It's just the older we get. Cube is 56. I'm 50. You know what I'm saying? So he has a track on the album. He says it's called "Act My Age." You talk about how he gets pissed off when folks tell him to act his age. Like, you know, he ain't supposed to be rapping no more. He ain't supposed to be talking a certain way, acting a certain way, dressing a certain way, whatever it is. And I say this to that. I say there are limits that we all gotta accept. But, and I mean but, capital B. No matter what nobody else thinks of how you do, you gotta be you. And only you can define what that is. So if Cube wants to ever wear baseball caps and loke shades and, you know, or just any form of dark black shades, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And with a certain look out of Cali and what that is for the style, and khakis and long tees. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I love all that too, because of what came out of Cali and how much that influenced my youth. It definitely made a huge impact on my personal style. Where to this day, I never could would not get it. First of all, I have some little tiny skinny ass legs. I got some real, not bragging, just speaking to the genes I got, thank you mom and dad, I got some big ass calves. I got some muscular legs. I ain't wearing no damn skinny jeans. I ain't about to wear no jeans that look like I'm wearing leotards. It ain't, no, no, hell no. And I never did no damn sagging. Yeah, I wear baggy. I might wear a pair of pants that was too big for me in the waist and I wrap the belt around and make them stay on my waist. I'm not sagging. That was some punk shit from the minute it came out. And I never, to this day, I never had no respect for sagging. I still don't. I don't like that look. I've come to accept that the thing that went on for so damn long that unfortunately, and I do mean unfortunately, we done lost whole generations to where there's levels of it, like this little bit of sagging, all the way sagging and looking ridiculous. And these guys just can't get out of it. Like, so many of them just don't even think twice about it. They just figure, I got on a pair of pants, shorts, anything, they got to do that. They just really think that's what makes them real. Don't know that they look retarded and it will never look right. You know, I've often said for years on a style tip, I say, look, man, get you some salwar pants. I got one pair of pants like that, but I plan to get some more because I like the look. Where it's a natural, we call it low crotch pants or harem pants. Harem, if anybody don't know these words, okay, or salwar. But they're really cool and stylish, and they're very ancient in origin, and they're usually drawstring around the waist. So you tie them at your waist so they ain't drooping off your ass, but it gives you the low slung crotch look. And I don't have no problem with the crotch thing. I got a problem with your damn draws. I don't want to see your freaking draw. I can't stand seeing fools wear a t-shirt long enough to cover their psychosis, and they still pull the shirt up in the back because they want you to see they damn underwear. There's nothing that will ever explain that and make it logical. And for anybody in their 20s, 30s, and whatever, you wasn't even here when it started. I was. I remember the first fool in my high school. I tell this story all the time. The first fool in my high school, and to make it so bad, he wasn't even from no real hood shit. This was a privileged, two-parent home, spoiled little asshole whose parents just were crazy enough to not be taking care of him right, obviously, because they wasn't putting their foot in his ass to keep him on the narrow path. So he was a ne'er-do-well. And he was the first person in the school to start sagging like that. It was around our senior year, too. It was like, we talking 93. This was not normal in Atlanta, Georgia, even though it's an epidemic now everywhere, in every major city. You did not sag your pants. Do you hear me, y'all, you little thug wannabes and everybody? There was no sagging. Real gangsters and thugs did not sag. This was not, even though Tupac and all them people were out and was starting to push that into, even they wasn't doing that when they first started. Do you hear me? When Tupac was with Digital Underground, he wasn't sagging. Hello. It's all created, man. All this bullshit that's destroyed our communities and our look and our integrity was created and pushed on us. Anyway. But I can remember when that man started. But then another week, man, it was about him and one other kid. And then slowly but surely, the other goofies just started falling in line with it. Because, like I say, the kid that started it wasn't even the worst, but he used to try to hang with the worst. So then the worst started kind of emulating him. And then when it became this thing where I guess enough of I always say it must have just been enough of the kids who had older brothers and cousins and uncles or whatever that had been in that damn system in jail and came home with that mentality, and they tried to make it a trend. They not knowing their damn uncles was getting bent over and messed because that was some sissy shit okay, let me not even get that deep because folk can't handle it. I'm just gonna leave that alone. But it's been said a million times. Ain't nothing news if you know the truth about all these style histories and where the garbage comes from. It's not cool. It never was cool. Sagging is the lamest-ish ever. And it's sick and sad that it still exists. So, you know, back to the point that got me even to this topic, I will say that when folks say, you know, they got an issue with somebody telling them to act their age or dress their age, there are limits, and you know, as long as you doing what's truly you, and like, example, right? If you ain't as funkified and funky and life dedicated to funk as somebody like George Clinton, George is like 80 something, and he still dress all kind of wild stuff every day. Every time you see him, something he got on. Even if I've seen George just at home with his lady, chilling in his pool. You know, I don't smoke weed, but he always smoking. You know what I'm saying? This is George. This is George freaking Clinton, who done probably back in the day every drug on the planet, lived to tell about it amazingly, absolutely amazing that he survived. And I'm glad he's still with us and got himself together to where it looked like all he does now is some weed. So I'm happy for him that he ain't doing much more than that, hopefully. Okay? But he seems to have his faculties. He still goes on tours when he wants to and performs when he wants to. He's a freaking legend, man. He is an absolute legend. And his style of dress and all the wild colors and clash of colors and clash of patterns and whatever he want to do, man, that's George. Ain't nobody funk like that but him, you know? That's like, what's my dude? Mono Neon? Or Neon? Yeah, I think it's Mono Neon. Bass guitarist, funk guitarist, wears literally quilt suits that are customized, that he has made for him, and these masks and all this. Like, to this day, I mean, I know what he looks like, but he'll wear a mask too. And most of the time, even if he's not got the mask on, he'll have on these funky shades and stuff. But that's a whole nother level of, like, that's real artistry, man. That's all I can say there. If that's you as an artist, pure, hey, there you go, there it is. But then there's all these other folk who just, like, literally just like to wear a lot of clothes, and as they say these days, like to put that shit on. Okay, well, they put too much on sometimes. They put on stuff that don't even go together, or they do stuff just to be trendy, buying some expensive stuff, trying to show all the labels, trying to, like, it took me a way to, I mean, I knew I was getting older when I couldn't understand how the hell overnight it seemed like in the last 2 or 3 years, this whole crop top thing took over. I saw it coming because they've been trying to feminize everything in the clothing, right? For men. And it's out of control to a certain extent. I don't have no problem. I'm not limited, or as an artist, as a visual artist, there's not a color under the sun that I don't have respect for and regard for. And can, if I want to, as a man, a straight up heterosexual man, you know, I'll wear pink. It's what you do with it. It's what hue of pink next to what other colors. If it's just by itself, how you mixing it, how you mixing and mingling it. What's the textures of the fabrics? What's the gleam of it, the level of sheen, the level. These things do send a message to the history of fashion beyond just, I like that and I want to wear it because I think it's cool. Cool, but like everything, know know the signal you sending when you put whatever you put on your body and go out into the public. It sends different messages, even if they're not what you intend them to say. And that's a hard thing for a creative person, because sometimes, man, we just want to be in our own planet. We here with y'all, but we not really here with y'all. We doing whatever we want to do in our mind. It ain't got shit to do with the rest of y'all. But the rest of y'all are here with us, and there's more of y'all to our one, so you got to be realistic about that, and you can't put yourself in danger. You can't put yourself in so much ridicule that, depending on what level you are and whatever it is you do in a career, it could jeopardize that. It could jeopardize people's trust of your ability or your sanity, or a lot of things, man. It really can mess with all of that to look a certain way. So every day you got a decision to make, and at the end of the day, yes, you can wear whatever the hell you want. You can, you really can. But you also can deal with whatever the hell comes with it. It's just that. It's just that, all right? So, you know, and even when there's misinterpretation and people not knowing the history of things that they do, it doesn't matter. You got to deal with the reality of where we at now and how that's going to be seen, and face the reality of it. Like, there's some things you don't want to do in some places, and other things are neutral enough to get away with anywhere. And what are you known for? What are you trying to be known for? Do you want to reach the level of a funketeer like George, or you just want to be trendy and want to do whatever seems popular, even though it might be detrimental to your well-being. You know. All right, y'all. We back in. Tell a friend. Okay. So, as I was saying, you know, with he's been able to accomplish, and him owning, for instance, Big Three and having that amazing sports opportunity. You know, whenever he talks about that, he tells the reality of how he grew up, that getting truly lost into the sauce of the whole gang stuff that was all around him. He had friends who was all about all that. So by the time he became a rapper, you know, he had all the persona and all the lineage and all the stuff that could have been used, that was used to create his identity. And it's real. It's not like, so it's like a Kendrick Lamar. It's somebody who didn't have to legitimately full throttle participate to not hang around enough to not know the codes and the ways and speak the lingo and therefore be authentic, if in that regard of what he does and what he's known for when he's talking his different lyrics and stuff. And like he often, like I heard in the interview he said recently, he was talking about, you know, on his street it was nothing but athletes, a lot of athletes, but like the street a few streets over was where Dub C, from Dub C, WC in the Mad Circle, that Dub C, from West Side Connect, that Dub C, who is known to be, you know, Blue Rider official. You know, it is what it is. It's obvious too, if you really know the codes. It ain't even hidden. It's in plain sight. You know, that was, I will say, even with Dub C though, when Dub C started, like other people don't know their hip hop history. I'll never forget the first time I ever saw Dub C, and probably had heard him and didn't know who I was listening to. I was just like, you know, okay, I hear this kind of aggressive, kind of cool hip hop from the West Coast, but I don't even know magazine. And it was for WC and the Mad Circle. That was the name of the group. Him and his boys was the Mad Circle. And Dub C was looking homeless on the cover of the artwork for the ad, and it was for the album too. It was like they just literally looked like some dudes on Skid Row. Like there was nothing specific about them that looked like they were, you know, hustling and getting by. No, they looked like they were at the end of it all, like ground zero, bottom out. That's how that looked on that ad. And I honestly thought when they came out that they were trying to be politically, socially a group about, you know, the ills of what was going on in LA to create the level of poverty that happens with a Skid Row and all that. And then honestly, I need to go back. I need to go back and listen to that whole album, because I know I've heard at least probably two true tracks off of that first album, but I never listened to the whole album. And I'm curious, you know, how they were coming and what they were about, because of what I assumed they were about. And then it was like maybe some years went by, because that was not a very financially successful album. That was a very underground album. And then before, you know, like I don't forget how many years it was before Cube created the West Side Connect, which was him, Dub C, and Mac 10. But then, you know, and he basically, and it was a clever combination for what it represented in LA, Black West Coast hip hop, because you had Cube in the middle, always dressed generally in black or gray, okay? Which, if you know the codes, that's like very neutral colors in all that gang conversation, right? Like either side will wear that stuff per se, yeah. Depending on what time, what era, what issues, who's beefing, whatever, you know, I don't know. But generally, that's kind of just down the middle. Gray, black, all those things just kind of general, right? But then you always had Dub C wearing something that referenced blue, and then Mac 10 wearing something representing red. So Cube is like, I'm the glue that holds it together, because I'm right in the middle and I know both sides and I'm cool with everybody. And we the whole West Coast vibe of this thing, you know? When you think G-Funk from the West Coast, think West Side Connect. We got this, right? And it was very, you know, successful. They had a lot of hits, a lot of good singles and stuff. And it didn't last, unfortunately, but that happens. That's how that go. And but he's still forever cool with Dub C. And Dub C just one of them real ass cool cats. I like Dub C. I like what he's grown to be, especially because when I see him in interviews and stuff now, he's smart enough to know how to commercialize even what he's about and polish himself up enough to be presentable to anybody who is curious about the stuff he's aware of. And and when we speak of being grown and acting your age, he looks and acts like, hey man, I'm that dude who wanted better out of life. Like, you know, he got his teeth fixed, bro, got the nice smile and shit, like the Hollywood grin. I mean, he straight up he did his teeth whitened and stuff, and he did it all. Like, he did the whole thing. He lined up the goatee, none of that scraggly stuff no more. Everything always fresh, you know. Yeah, still wearing G'd up type clothing, whatever, but it's gonna be crispy. You know, it's gonna be well kept, crispy, downy, fluffified, you know. You feel me? Like nothing dirty and scuffy and looking crazy. Like, and that's the night and day of it to me. For just to begin, that's just the basics for looking your age at any age. Like, man, grow your shit up and come out presentable. You know, yeah, there's times when you gotta get outside and do some yard work or something like that, you dirty, whatever. But no, if you're an artist, you're a presenter, and you're doing something special, every time you show up, you need to look that part. You need to be a representative of the best of that thing you say you are a product of, but here's what it can be when it's refined. And the key word is refined. And so many people need to stop running from the word refinement and refine, because people want to act like, oh, that's you're sold out because you ain't dirty and gully no more. Guess what? Everybody used to talk that bullshit, because a lot of them used to talk that bullshit back in the day. I can remember these days in college. All them motherfuckers got jobs, not the ones who still alive, the ones who dodged the bullets, dodged the drugs, got over the habits, put down the bottle, stopped smoking as much, maybe stopped smoking altogether. Hello. They are the ones who are on the TV shows, got the movie deals, got the endorsement deals, got their own line of legal marijuana and all these. They got their own drinks and liquor and stuff, or not even just liquor and stuff. You know, cereal brands. Master P, hello, anybody? You know, all these people who is so rough and tough and gully and ghetto and just the worst of the worst, they done all, if they live long enough, the pants start coming up, you might see them occasionally, depending on, oh, what's this interview for? Oh, okay, it's for, oh, hold on, let me adjust my pants because I got to appeal to the kids. You know, some of them still on that instead of, man, I'm grown as hell. What, the kids ain't got to like me, man. Let's run the cameras. Yeah, my pants right on my damn ass. I'm doing deals now. I'm making real money that's generational money. Kids in private school, wife happy, house nice. Hello. Ain't that what we all want? Stop playing with yourself and lying to yourself. You damn right that's what you want. If you're any kind of real dude. Everybody wants that. You do your version of it. You don't have to have the house they got. You don't have to drive the car they got. But everybody wants the wherewithal to get there. Everybody. So all that rough and stay gully and stay down and stay stupid and broke and dirty and worried about this and worried about that and thinking somebody, the ops about to get me and all that old bullshit, man, that ain't life. That ain't life. And if you really observe the real ones, I don't care how much they might still allude to that, that ain't what they doing right now. That is not what they doing right now. So even when they allude to it, that bothers me in some of this grown-up rap that I enjoy, because it's still nostalgic, because these people are so part of my history and my fandom as a hip-hop consumer, okay? You know, I always used to hate back in the day the stereotype that they used to think, like, there was a certain point in the history where they say, well, you know, because when the bootlegging thing came in so strong, they was like, well, you know, most of my black audience, they just bootleg my stuff, but, you know, there's white kids in the suburbs that really buy my album. I said, whoa, motherfucker. I'm in the goddamn suburbs of Atlanta, and I bought your black ass's album. You know? Like, oh, that used to piss me off. I'd be like, did the motherfucker just say that? Like, I didn't just beg my parents all week to give me $20 so I could go to the damn Radio Shack and hope they still got that new CD from cassette, before CDs, cassette from whoever. We bought your shit, man. I still got that stuff. I still got some of my cassettes and stuff. Nothing worse than when they was doing that. It was so insulting. And it was a whole era where you hear so many rappers say that. I'd be like, the fuck they talking about, man? Because it's like this general stereotype that everybody black is in the hood, and everybody black come from a household where there is no education, there aren't any two-parent. That's bullshit. And even where there were situations where, yeah, people ended up in divorces, so there may be one parent home. That don't mean they don't know their dad. That's all my friends. I mean, all of them. There's 8 of us, me included in the 8. My closest friends, every last one of us know who our fathers are and had our dads in our lives. And some of us had dad at home like I did. So don't give us that bullshit narrative, man. Nothing worse than that. And it's like, yeah, a lot of other cities, now this is Atlanta before 96. This is pre-Olympic Atlanta. This is pre-full degradation bomb drop. Yeah, we had drugs. Yeah, we had gangs. Yeah, we had stuff, but it wasn't like what it is now. And you could count it on a hand. You'd be like, yeah, over there, there's that, and there's this, and then you go in that pocket. Ooh, don't go over there. You could label it. Now, ain't no damn label. It's just, man, everywhere you at, head on the swivel, like, you never know. Even out here in the nice, suburban, quieter area, still. But that ain't how it always was. And I hate when people paint these pictures and pretend that it is. Like, yeah, it was always. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was not. Stop lying. Stop trying to make it what it... Why do you even want it to be worse? Why do you want it to be worse? It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So that's what gets me, though, with a lot of the older ones. When, you know, to keep it edgy, sometimes in the lyrics, they still acting like they riding around the block and gotta worry about somebody trying to get at them. Man, ain't nobody thinking about, man, some of these, the now active young and dumb don't even know your name. Some of these folks don't even, if it were not for the ones who do movies and TV too, like Cube, and I said this in my review, I said, man, we nobody even know. I mean, let's just be honest. They don't, some of them only know you from movies. Oh yeah, I love Barbershop. I seen Barbershop. They don't know you. They don't know your music. I never forget, Ice-T real as hell. That's why he my dog, man. I love Ice-T. Ice-T had a post he made. He actually said this a few times on his Instagram, but one day I'll never forget years ago seeing he had said, there's people who really don't know that I was a rapper. And the whole post was him showing himself doing his thing back in the day, rapping and video clips and all this stuff. And it's like, do you not understand that is Ice-T? That's how Ice-T is Ice-T because of rap first. Hip-hop is Ice-T first. Then there's the movie star. Then there's the TV personality. Then there's the voiceover guy. Then I'm seeing Ice smiling and happy, man. This shit is hilariously wonderful. Because I just remember nothing but this motherfucking nice T, you know? T standing with chains on stage. You know what I'm saying? With the beanie on and the tank top. Handcuffed, sirens going off. It's Ice-T. And that was, oh my gosh. Like literally, like to the point where he himself would make fun of the levels that being hard could get to and being kind of ridiculous. One of the funniest things he ever had on OG classic album is he's doing a voiceover of a gangster who thinks he's invincible and the cops can't get to him and can't catch him and can't nobody figure out what they doing and how they rolling, him and his crew. And then at the end, he does another voice. It's all him. It's all him playing these characters through voiceover. And at the end, he's like, yo, you know what I'm saying? And when we come through, we're going to be wearing our blue and we'll bust your motherfucking ass. And then he's like, knock, 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 knock. He's like, yo, who is it? He's like, Mr. Such and Such. He cracks the door. You hear the door crack. He's like, hello, I'm Officer Such and Such, Agent Such and Such with Internal Affairs. We'd like to have a few words with you. And it gets quiet as hell. And then the next song comes in. I love that album. Oh my gosh. Because T always kept it true to the truth. We so hard. We goes with that. Here's what goes with that. Because he lived it, survived it, and thank goodness he didn't end up in jail because of it. Because if he had done that, we never would have known the Ice-T I'm talking about. It would have never happened. So that's the lessons of older cats that can teach you something versus fools just mouthing off and always acting crazy and acting like they so invincible and all this other nonsense. Like, no, man, we need that to come back. We need rappers that, I don't know if that could ever even happen again, because generationally, there's like, people literally are making money off of being fake. Like, it's like everybody's fakeness. this is what's good. They're selling levels of fakeness. Anyway, y'all, hit the comments. Let me know what y'all think. And most importantly, check out that review of the new Ice Cube. Let me know.